everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another roster reveal. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Shannon and I'm cabin crew. I've been cabin crew for about a year and a half, but I've just recently had the last 5 months off, but now I'm back and today I'm revealing June's roster. June is always a really good month for me because it's my birthday in June, so I usually have quite a lot of time off and it's a really good roster. But first, as always, I need to go back, tell you all the changes that happened in May, and of course tell you my bids for June as well. So May's roster, if you watched my last video then you will know that I mentioned a lot of changes happened in May. Pretty much my entire roster changed, partially because I had a really long standby duty, so that was going to change anyway, and partially because this is very fresh for me. Obviously I've just come back after a long amount of time off, so I knew there was going to be some complications and I knew it was going to be a bit of a process coming back into work, and that definitely happened. So let's go through what happened in May. So May's roster started off with a 7-day standby, and I knew I was meant to be covering a certain trip, which I believed to be the Santiago, which is a 7-day trip or a 6-day trip. So I knew that if I wasn't getting called for that on the first day, then I would have a lot of waiting around to do. I did get called, but I didn't get called for the Santiago. So on day 1 of my standby, which was my airport standby, I was called for a Bucharest. It was literally just 1 out, night stop, and then 1 back the next day. So that was really good. I was really grateful for that. So then the day after that was obviously my 3rd day of standby, which was a flexi day off, which meant if I wasn't called for that original Santiago trip, then they would put my day off in there. Obviously I wasn't, so I had a nice little day off on the 3rd day of my standby. So then I had 4 days of standby left, and I'd already found out from day 2 what I was doing for the next 3 days, which was good because it meant I didn't have to sit at home waiting for that dreaded phone call, because it always gives me so much anxiety. So by day 2, when I was coming home from Bucharest, I already found out that days 4, 5 and 6 I was going to be used for a Seattle, and if you follow me on Instagram then you will know it was my first trip positioning, and positioning means that you're basically a passenger either on the way out or on the way back. I was positioning on the way out and I was operating on the way back, which meant I got to play passenger princess on the way out. I sort of documented little bits of it on my Instagram. I took a few videos and things, but it was really good. I got to sit in business class, which I have never done before because I have never had that kind of money. I also got a nice 3-course meal, which I wasn't expecting. Got to sit and watch lots of movies. It was a great little trip, to be fair, and because I'd never done it before I was a little bit worried, but I was also kind of grateful because it would have been my first long haul coming back to work, so it was nice to be able to get a feel for how the service goes a little bit before actually going into it myself. So yeah, I did a little Seattle. The crew on that trip were really nice. We actually went out and did a little bit of exploring. I didn't take my camera with me. I was gonna film the whole process of positioning crew, and I know you guys are gutted that I didn't do that, but even though I wasn't in my uniform, I was still wearing my crew ID the whole time, and I was still technically getting paid for that duty, so I didn't think it would be right for me to film as I went. I know people have done. If it crops up again, then maybe I will try and film that whole process, because I know quite a few of you are interested in how it went. But yeah, it was a really good trip. And then because I had the Seattle, it then meant that I had to have days off afterwards, so that last day of standby was a day off. So I was only used for 5 out of the 7 of my standbys, and it was a really nice, easy standby block. So after that, the only 2 trips I had left were a Dallas and a Bahrain, and I didn't go on either of those. So the Dallas didn't happen because I had a little bit of a panic attack the night before and then was unable to go and was unfit to fly. And I was a bit gutted by that, to be honest, because I really thought that after, you know, having my positioning trip out and a really nice flight back, that I was going to be ready to go for my first full-blown long haul, and I just wasn't. And I can't tell you what it was that triggered it. I had all my stuff packed, I was ready to go. It was just that last minute before I got into bed, and I freaked out about it. I went for a phase of feeling like really down on myself about it, because obviously I worked really hard for 5 months to try and overcome the anxiety and everything like that, and then felt like I was in a position ready to go back to work, and I don't know, for some reason it just didn't happen that day, and I don't know why, but yeah, I didn't go. So I was then off sick for that trip, and then because I was off sick, that then changed my next trip. So my Bahrain got cancelled. I was still working the same days, but it changed to a Boston. I said it in my last video because obviously I filmed the process. If you haven't watched it, go back and check it out. I explain a little bit in there. But my airline did work with me to reach out to the managers for that flight and sort of explain the situation, and they were so supportive. Even on board, they were just the nicest people ever. I did sort of freak out the day before, but I did it sort of daytime, so by the evening I was like, I can sleep comfortably, and I got up the next morning and I was fine. I was still nervous, as you can tell from the video, but it was fine, and it turns out I had nothing to worry about because my Boston trip was beautiful. Had a really nice time in Boston, really lovely crew again, really nice simple flight, and I really don't know what I was panicking about. And I hope that that feeling sort of stays with me for my next trip and I don't have that happen again, but who knows. We made it through the month. Every flight that I've had has been really lovely crew, so I don't know why I get like this, I just do. But here we are. So that is all the changes that happened in May. Everything changed, but yeah, it did turn out to be a really good month. It was overwhelming, but it was a really good month. So on to my bids for June. Moving on over so you guys can see. So my top bid for this month was a buddy bid with my friend Josie. If you watched the vlog from the Disney 100 exhibition, Josie was in that, so you'll know her already if you've seen that. So I did a buddy bid with Josie for a specific date. I did a bid for a flight number, which was an LA flight for a certain date. I also did a all-round bid for an LA on a certain day, and I bidded for about 4 days off. They're all my bids. Here they are. Buddy bid, flight number for an LA in general, and 4 days off. And obviously not just randomly 4 days off, I mean specific dates that I chose for 4 days off. When I tell you that the bidding gods were totally on my side, I really mean it. I don't know how I've managed this, but I practically got all of my bids. It's a really good month, guys. So my roster for June. First thing to note is that I got 3 out of the 4 days off that I booked. And the one that I didn't get, I clear at a decent time in order to do the thing that I wanted to do anyway. So it really worked in my favour. Again, don't know how I've managed this. My first little block is a little bit of short haul and a little bit of training. So day 1, I have a little training day. I think it's to do with the service standards and things. Day 2 is a there and back to, I believe, somewhere in Greece. The airport code is PVK, but I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to butcher it on YouTube. And then the next 3 days are a little Euro tour. It's a 3-day 8 sector. So I fly to Dublin on the first day, come back, and then I night stop in Amsterdam. And then on the second day of the Euro tour, I fly back from Amsterdam to Heathrow and then night stop again in Munich. And then on the last day, I fly home from Munich to Heathrow, and then I do a little Paris, Charles de Gaulle, there and back, and come home. And that's the end of my first block. So a nice little bit of short haul there. I do get quite a bit of time in both Amsterdam and in Munich, which is quite nice. However, all the report times are really early. So whether I'll have the energy to do anything, I do not know, because I'll be going to bed quite early to make sure I get up quite early. I'm even staying in hotels for the first couple of nights by Heathrow when I don't have night stops, because driving home at rush hour to drive back for 6 a.m. reports is just not a bit of me. I'm not really a fan of that. So really early block, but I don't mind it. I really don't mind short haul. I quite enjoy short haul. So that's the first block, not too shabby. After that, I have lots of annual leave, lots of golden days, things like that, because it's my birthday. I don't really have many plans because I decided early on that if I get the trip that I wanted specifically, the buddy bid with Josie, then that will be my treat to myself for my birthday. And if that happens, then I can't afford anything else. And it happened, so I can't afford anything else. So I'm not really doing anything else for my birthday. So the main trip of this month is my next block, which is an LA, and it's with Josie. We didn't think we were going to get it at all. I texted her and I was like, do you fancy doing a little buddy bid to LA? We could go to Disneyland if we get it. I've got other bids in there, like my days off and stuff, so I can't imagine we will, but there's nothing else that I really want to bid for. But I do really want to go to Disneyland because it's around my birthday, and I'd kind of like to go with you, so do you want to try it? She was like, yeah, why not? I've tried a buddy bid once before with Holly, but it didn't actually work. So this time I didn't think it was going to work either, but it did. So my next vlog is an LA. It's a 4-day trip, meaning I clear at about 6 p.m. the first day. I get a whole clear day to myself after that. And then on the day that we come home, we don't get picked up till maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I've got a nice bit of time in LA, and obviously I'm going with Josie. So guys, we're going to Disneyland. Don't cry. We're going to Disneyland. I have been to Disneyland California once before. I made a whole 2 vlogs out of it. I spent the entire day from open till close in the parks on my own, and I had the best time. So on that clear day, we are going to Disneyland. We're going to do everything. I've already looked at what's happening on the day that we're there. I'm a bit gutted because there's no Fantasmic and there's no fireworks show at the castle. However, they were the 2 that I prioritised last time, meaning I didn't get to see the show in the California Adventure Park. So it's kind of worked out that I don't have to make that horrible decision, and I've got one show to go and see. So if you want to watch the Fantasmic footage and you want to see the fireworks show at the castle. I can't remember what it was called at the time, but you can go and see that in the other vlogs. However, in the vlog coming up, you will get to see, I think is it World of Colour? I think that's what it's called, at California Adventure. So I'm so excited, I can't even tell you. We're going to Disneyland in June, right after my birthday. Don't know why I'm getting emotional, because I already got emotional about it before. Like, it's talking about it. Stop. Sorry that I'm getting a bit red-eyed here. It's just crazy. And it makes me sad that I potentially missed out 5 months of other Disney trips because I was too busy freaking out about work. But really, what is there to freak out about? I've got a job that can take me to Disneyland. The fact that I'm going with Josie is like the most amazing thing as well. If you don't know Josie, then Josie is one of the girls that I trained with to become cabin crew. She'd already done cabin crew before, but we trained together, and it was me, Josie, and a lovely girl called Emily who sat next to each other in the first day. They went round to everyone and said, where do you want to go? And we were all talking about it. And then I overheard them and they're saying about Orlando, and I was like, same. And then straight away, I think it must have been within the first hour, we were having a Disney conversation, and I knew I'd found my people. So it's so nice to be able to like think that a year and a half later, we're actually going to Disneyland together. And I know if she watches this, she was probably going to be crying, so I'm sorry if I made you cry. But yeah, that is June's roster. It's really short, I know, because like I said, I have so much time off, but I have one really nice short haul block with a little bit of training in there, and the best, most exciting long haul ever. And that is my roster. Short and sweet, but one of the best rosters yet. So yeah, on that note, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Get excited for some really cool vlogs coming up. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.